Red light's on.
Attention, on courant. Here we go.
Let's take advantage of this.
I'm Mitch Docker, and this is Life in the Peloton's Race Radio. Over to you.
Hello, wherever you are in the world.
We are Life in the Peloton's Race Radio, giving you a little first weekend wrap-up from the greatest race on earth, the Tour de France. I don't know about you, Stu, but it's best 3 weeks of the year. So for us in Europe, it's when you can just watch it all day. And I guess in Australia, you'd wake up, watch it on playback, don't get spoilers. Amazing. Before work. Brilliant.
So what have you seen? What's exciting you?
Well, I was quite excited on stage one, Stu, because I did quite a lot of work for Canyon, the bike brand.
Not the geographical feature.
The Grand Canyon. I proposed that we, rather than focus on Mathieu van der Poel for our sort of tour, pre-race campaign, marketing campaign, do we focus on Jasper Philipsen? Because, well, the man's won 9 Tour de France stages. He doesn't have the greatest reputation, though. One for his sprinting and also for his portrayal in the Netflix. And everything that I've heard about Jasper from people that work at Canyon and Alpecin is that he's quite a nice guy. So I proposed that go over and film with him. And he actually invited us. So he and his partner, they own an apartment in Tenerife. I was up on Mount Teed, up at altitude. No, it's just down by the coast. I was like, but aren't you supposed to be up on the... What's the gains here? But the reason he goes there is because it's just to get away in a very, very quiet part of the island and do his work between the classics and the tour. And he was out there for a whole month, just the two of them. And they invited us out to spend a day. And we made a little film and a documentary about it. So I knew that the first stage was going to be a sprint stage. I was like, oh, this could be good. We could drop it right before and, focus it all around sprinting. And lo and behold, he bloody won the stage. And I was sitting watching like, come on. So
it's like you ordained it.
Yeah, just how I manifested it. But I thought I'd share with our listeners a few thoughts, having spent a bit of time with Jasper. Because, well... it's really interesting, I think, because you have these people's perceptions of somebody versus how they are in real life. Mm-hmm. And whether that person tries to, be something they're not, or in Jasper's case, I think he's just a simple Belgian guy, nice guy, really nice guy, quite thoughtful, very straightforward, but he just loves winning bike races and he has a God-given talent for sprinting. Okay. And so we had a wonderful time with him and his partner, and they took us out for dinner. They were very generous. They invited me and the cameraman out, and
that's not common.
They paid for it. No, they paid for it as well. And
wow. Where did they take you to the Hard Rock Cafe and play Las Americas? No, they took Harry,
us
you
to
can have
classy.
anything you want from the menu.
Yeah, can I get a pint of Stella, please? He took us to a quite classy Italian restaurant. Me and the camera operator obviously got like massive pizzas. And he was like, I'll have the pasta salad, please.
Oh.
I got to talk to him quite a lot, and especially in the interview part of it, I asked him quite a lot of questions about sprinting and the mindset required. And I wouldn't say he was unapologetic about the way he sprints, because obviously that's a big reason that people don't like him, right? It's because he veers off his line sometimes and has caused scratch.
Reputation, yeah.
Definitely. But he was quite hard-nosed about it. He spoke about playing the game, which is kind of, in his words, was like putting your rivals where you want them to be, holding your ground. But he also said, he doesn't consider his manoeuvres risky. It's just high tolerance of risk from when he was a kid.
What did he do when he was a kid?
His partner said he was like basically a lunatic in terms of like just, the guy that would always try to jump the biggest gap or, that kind of stuff.
It's like getting his BMX out and building a ramp over the bus stop.
Yeah.
Instead of setting on fire,
yeah.
I reckon I can jump this.
She told me a story about how in their village there was kind of because they've been together since they were teenagers. It's quite sweet. But the family story is that when Jasper was 8 years old, there used to be this kind of village Olympics. And Jasper was the smallest kid in the village. And for the high jump part of the Olympics, obviously he was the worst. And so he trained the entire year high jump in his back garden so that the next year he would be good at it. And when he finally cleared the high bar, he knocked around all the neighbours' doors saying, look, I can do it now, which I thought was quite a sweet story and indicative of that kind of desire to prove people wrong and to win.
Good for him.
Another thing that he spoke a lot about was winning as a team, and that's always something that Mark Cavendish used to do. And I remember I would hear it so many times from Cavendish and think, he can't really mean it. But they do, these sprinters. It's so clear that they do. Because, like, in the case of Philipsen, like, the whole lead out is that they've built at Alpecin is just for him. And it's like this well-oiled machine of guys, apart from Van der Poel, who are not flashy. They just do the hard work. They've got big engines and they commit. And it's amazing the work that they do to deliver him, win or lose. And I really felt the truth in what he said, that winning together when a plan comes together perfectly is even better for him.
Oh, and they really did. I mean, he won convincingly on stage one, didn't he, as well? So.
I mean, that whole... I mean, madly, it was Vingegaard who basically started the crosswinds, or he did that first death pull, which is... Or maybe it's just that it was him doing it that you kind of draw the eye. But then as soon as Alpecin saw that Malia and Milan, the other two big sprinters at the race, were in the second echelon, they sent it, didn't they? It was a masterclass.
No.
Just seeing Van der Poel going through, love it. And then today, I mean, it's amazing. This is this thing that cycling does, where the relationship between glory and heartbreak is so close. It's paper thin, And he crashed out and he's gone already. Did you see it?
Did not look good. In relation to what you're saying about people being quick to judge, one thing I did notice, I mean, watching the commentary here in the UK at least, is that the commentators were quite good at not wanting to place blame instantly, which I feel like has been a feature in the past, like something contentious happens and instantly people will jump on it and be like, who's to blame for this? And
I feel like it was just bad luck, that one.
Yeah, I think genuinely, like it seems to be like a series of sort of unfortunate events.
Yeah. Although I was thinking about it a little bit, and I was thinking, should Lawrence Rex and Brian Cockard have even been going for the intermediate sprint? Because there's no way either of them are going to win the green jersey or even wear it. So but then I'm like, should you stop shit riders from competing? No. And then I was like, well, maybe it's just karma for Jasper for the past, some of his moves.
Classism in bike racing.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it does rankle more the fact that it was the intermediate sprint. Yeah, you're out of the race. It's not even the finish. Because I was thinking, like, it's a long race, and a lot of riders talk about the beginning, the first week is quite nervous, and for a lot of them, it's about surviving it. Yeah, you have a limited number of opportunities, but if you're going to be looking for stage wins, it's like maybe you could kind of avoid some of these, especially early on when it's twitchy and more dangerous, I suppose, before everything settles down. But it's playing the game, and I guess what you're saying about Jasper is like if you get a buzz out of that feeling, you would play it more, wouldn't you?
You're not gonna not do it,
exactly.
are you?
Exactly.
Such a shame because he was in amazing form. He got third at the Belgian National Championships. He was like riding through and off with Remco, although Remco actually said he was complaining that he wasn't pulling enough. But and then he won that first sprint from Binny by a mile, and then he was only 30 seconds down on stage 2, which was, if you look at the results list, there's no other sprinters anywhere near. So I know the yellow jersey gives you wings, but it's a shame. Anyway, stage 2, that was a mega stage. It was great. And then Jasper's teammate won. Took the yellow jersey off him. Amazing.
Yeah, I'll borrow that.
Yeah.
Actually, as a little sidebar, Harry and I make another podcast called Did Not Finish with famed stat man Killian Kelly. We'll kind of pick a stat and we'll kind of get under the skin of maybe it's a topical stat, maybe it's an historical stat. It just depends. Luck of the draw. But before we chatted today, Harry, I sent him a message and I was like, Killian, you got any good stats?
Nice.
And one of them relates to that. Alpecin-Deceuninck are the first team to have 2 different wearers of the yellow jersey after the first 2 stages since Eddie Merckx and Joseph Briere did it for Molteni in 1974.
Wow, 51 years ago. It's a true rarity.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and again, the way Mathieu did it, he just... You see the guys that are around him, they're all GC climbers. He's a monster. He's a monster. God, I just love him. He's quite funny though, Mathieu. I don't know if you noticed. He's becoming quite a flash now that he's got all this cash. Because did you see that he announced he's an ambassador of a private jet company just before the tour?
Which is obviously quite a normal thing for anyone to do or to aspire to, you know. Like, I don't know about you, Harry, but...
He's also an ambassador for Richard Mille, who make those watches that are like 300,000
£250,000, yeah.
He races in one of those, and so does Pog.
And so did Cav, didn't he, as well?
Yeah,
It's a trio of top dogs. It's a table you don't get to sit at, probably. You're like, if you got your watch on, you can't sit with us, I'm sorry.
God, I don't wonder how that watch would have come off in Jasper's crash if he'd been wearing it. One of those. Smash! 200 grand. He also turns up to cyclocross races in his Lamborghini these days, which is,
why not?
for anyone who's been to cyclocross races, like everyone's just in like shit camper vans, and it's the most sort of rural thing, Belgian rural thing.
I love that though, the extremes. Why not? If you could turn up to a cross race in a Lamborghini, and let's assume, I think it's probably safe to say that he's not got that on finance.
No.
Yeah, he's not short of a bob or two. I mean, fair enough. I was noticing how good his tan was as well at the finish. Did you?
He basically lives in South Spain.
Yeah.
So
year round, just bronzed, beautiful.
He is starting to look like those Monaco jet set, millionaires, isn't he? That you just see on yachts.
Yeah, the permatan. That doesn't. I mean, it's fine when you're still young, but like as the years advance, you start to look like a leather couch. If you're on a luxury yacht, who cares?
So today's stage, because we're recording this on Monday night after stage 3. Well, it's the battle that we're going to probably have all tour for the remaining sprint stages, Malia versus Milan, and it was a cracker. Milan, it looked like Milan had it because he had that great lead out, but Malia's got some wheels, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Talking about team winning, just had to kind of move up on his own. So I think that was why, I mean, again, watching the commentary here, I think Rob Hatch mistook the winner. He thought it was Milan.
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes if that's because his style's so like animated,
Yeah.
And you kind of like, he's working for it there, But
Wasn't he working for it at the end? And the slow-mos, he looked like he had nothing left. He was like, and it's so funny because he's so big, it's like exaggerated.
Yeah.
I did think Milan got this wonderful, perfect magic carpet ride lead out to the 200 meters to go. But Malia was sort of surfing wheels on his own. And of course, because he's on the same team as big grumpy baby Remco Evenepoel. So Remco's probably got 6 teammates just to help him get maybe third. Malia's won basically every sprint he's taken part in this year. He gets one lead out man.
Yeah, he fell off as well. I mean, I suppose that kind of leads to 3 stages, and it's been very crashy.
Yeah, it has. One person that we really hope doesn't crash, given how the season that he's had so far, is our colleague officially on the pod, Luke Durbridge of Life in the Peloton's race communique. Durbo watch, how's he getting on?
Well, how's he done so far? Have we got the numbers? You got the scores on the doors?
Yeah, I got the numbers right here. He got 163rd on stage 1.
Respectable, okay.
115 on stage 2, so nice. He's just
good improvement
there a little bit, yeah. 156th on stage 3. So keep at it, Turbo. You might crack the top 100, mate, if you keep going. Of course, we know that's not how cycling works. He's here to support his team. He's always in the wind. He's always on the front. He's like one of those amazing riders that somehow seems to always be there doing work and well positioned.
He's nice and noticeable at the moment in the Aussie Nat Champs jersey as well, which is special. But I mean, speaking of crashy, and speaking of, you're not the only one who gets to speak to riders occasionally, Harry. I interviewed Ben O'Connor at the end of last week. I've been helping Mitch out with a thing for Map, and he was talking about how nervous the first week is, and kind of keeping out of the way. And unfortunately, he had a bit of a spill on stage 1.
So even trying to stay out of the way, you just can't sometimes. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. He's another, like Jasper, he's another one that has a bad public image, really, after Netflix.
You'd like to think that anybody who watches, if you're a big enough fan of cycling, and not even that big, but the Netflix documentary was compelling. I had friends, my wife got into it, she was like, this is exciting. And I'm like, yeah, but a lot of this isn't really how it played out when it happened. This has obviously been dramatized. It's probably the difference between what Love Island is actually like and what Love Island is like on the telly. You've got a team of producers being like, let's squeeze all the drama out of this. And Yeah, I mean, I would tend to say, I mean, he said it himself that he didn't come off that well there, and there's obviously a lot of factors to that. Mitch interviewed him just recently. That's a really good listen. But even just chatting to him directly, he's just a super nice, kind of like open. And I think that's the problem really, is like if you're just open, you're more prone to being taken advantage of by people.
He said that on the interview with Mitch, that he'd learned that lesson, was like being open, ended up having his words twisted against him. And that's why these guys, like, did you see Tim Malia's interview after winning today? He was like, yes, it was good. I really, really liked it.
It was hard in the headwind. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You know me though, Harry. I'm maybe a touch emo, but like, you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of. I mean, I'd like to put myself in the bank accounts of these top riders, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah. Fold yourself into the vault along with all his gold bullion.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, he was super nice. I'm kind of glad I got the opportunity. Not like I say.
Nice. Look at us trying to change the public perceptions of cyclists who nobody likes.
If we can convince just one person not to take Netflix at its word, or not to take the popular media at its word.
Yeah.
Wait till I tell you about the Twin Towers.
I actually interviewed as a producer for the Netflix thing, and the sort of exec producer person that interviewed me, I was like, this is a terrible, terrible person. As in, I could tell they were just very TV, very... Yeah, so we don't really care about cycling, was essentially what they said. And they were like, we just want to know what the stories are and pick at those. And you can see that's how they do it. And I mean, that's how TV's made, but it was still... I mean, I obviously work for brands, so I don't have that same kind of hard-nosed, cold way of looking at things. It's very clinical and it's very cynical, basically.
You and I like a story that brings a tear to the eye, I think. I'm making a film at the moment that's a rider talking about how they wouldn't have made it if it hadn't been for the support of their family, and we've got like a bunch of like photographs of them riding bikes when they're a little kid, and oh man, I love it, absolutely love it. Maybe I'm sentimental, maybe that's my problem. Everyone else can deal with it.
Speaking of sentimental, we've actually got one of the biggest hearts at the Tour de France, map ambassador Zach Williams, pro cycling photographer, on the line, and he's going to join us for a little chat to give us the down low and maybe some emotional stories from the race. Let's get him on.
Set the scene, tell us where you are.
So I'm outside the Premier Class Dunkirk, which it's a very misleading name. I've come to pick up my bike from my learned colleague and dear friend Chris Auld, because he's left it in his van for me.
So you're taking a bike out of a van. So it's not the Cofidis. It's not the Cofidis van, is it? You're not.
It is. Well, funnily enough, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's Brian Coquard's look bike.
That'll be way too small for you.
Well,
I'd love to see you ride that. For our listeners, Zach is, well, a man mountain, I think it's fair to say. How tall are you? 6'6"?
Oh, 6'5", yeah.
Okay.
Oh, only 6'5".
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I'm not almost 6 foot, so I don't need to inflate my my height statistics.
That felt very pointed at me, Zach. I'm 5'10" and a half.
Well,
and a half. Yeah.
But you were 6 foot when you had hair, weren't you?
Zach,
in his mind.
tell us what you're doing. What's the story? So you're obviously pro photographer in cycling. You're there for the tour. What are you doing? What's the plan?
It's my 5th tour this year, which is insane. I sort of realized that on my way here. And I mean, I'm going to bring up the 100th stage that I've covered in this year's tour, which is mental. So I'm going to raise the bat. But yeah, I mean, 3 stages in, I don't know, the first 2 days felt like they went pretty according to script. Obviously, I mean, I understand, crosswinds on day 1, but I mean, Philipsen still managed to win. And then Van der Poel just, sauntering off yesterday and doing it easy. And then, Merlier finally got the stage win. Well, finally, on the 3rd stage. But he got his stage win today. So, I mean, if you sort of forget that Philipsen's out, which is pretty crazy, I think aside from that, everything's been fairly low-key so far.
What about for you? So at the Giro, you with the race organisers, so you were on the back of the motos every stage, which seems crazy to me. But how are you shooting the race this year?
Yeah, I mean, going from the Giro where I've got AAA access and, I'm like Michael Corleone in,
Your Perth's version of Michael Corleone in Italy.
In a pink photography bib. It does bring you crashing back to reality when you're at the tour and you're scum on the bottom of a Frenchman's boot. But it's been okay. I'm in the car this year just with Harry. Visuals of Harry Talbot, one of my really good friends who, he's the navigator. Normally we're doing it with Chris in his van, but this year we've gone it alone, and it's worked really well so far. We've flown the nest. And
it's good to shed dead weight, isn't it?
Ouch.
Well, I think we're very much like, Chris is very much like a stork in that he just sort of chucks his young out the nest that don't sort of seem strong enough to survive. And luckily we didn't hit the ground too hard on the way down, so we've managed to keep going.
Not dead in a pile of shit yet.
No, not yet.
How does it work with you and Harry then? So you'll look at the stage and you say, right, how many times? Because I presume you do you have a sticker? Like, can you cut through the race at all? How do you navigate a stage? Let listeners know how you chase it.
So we have a sticker. It actually allows us to pass the caravan if we want to as well, which only happens every now and again. But we have a sticker that allows us access in front and behind of what's called the race envelope. So that is pretty much the lead car that's about 5 to 10 minutes in front of the lead riders, and then the broom wagon at the back, which is pretty much at the back of the convoy. So we're allowed either side of that. We're not allowed in the convoy for obvious reasons, for safety reasons, which is totally fair. But we pretty much have to, the biggggest part
You're
of this
not that
job,
bad of a driver, surely.
Well, I'm not, but some of my colleagues are, so it's just sort of
They've
safe.
tainted your reputation. Okay, fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah. So honestly, the biggest challenge of this job and the biggest headache is the logistics. So every day we'll sit down before the stage or the night before, look at the road book, look at sort of what the stage is going to be. So, today, for example, stage 3, it's a flat sprint stage. So whatever happens, we have to be at the finish. That's the story of the day, is the last 300 meters. On a mountain stage, we're going to pick and choose which mountains we want to do. Sometimes you can only do one. So you got to find, the balance between what's the best looking mountain and where's the action going to be. But you're pretty much picking and choosing around the route.
But also where you think you can drive and make it in time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Points of interest, but then logistically where you can actually reach, and then the exit plans to then get off the course and then hopefully get back in front of them again. So you got to sort of find, natural cut throughs that you can do. And then all of that can just come undone if you turn up to a roadblock that, you're well within your rights to go through. And any gendarme who maybe was bullied at school or is in a loveless marriage isn't really feeling like letting you through on that given day, it can totally undo your day.
Let me through.
Just touch grass, dude. So that is always the challenge. But it, every day is different, and every day you're on your toes as to whether or not things are going to work. But that's the sort of main crux of our job. I mean, pressing the buttons and taking the photos is genuinely the easiest part.
It's fascinating, how much you have to work to make it work, as it were.
Absolutely.
So how many times have you managed to hit the race, and have you had any touch and go moments with the sprint finish? Like, to what point do you push the risk? Because that you can do that, can't you? You can say, right, it would be conservative to hit 3 spots, or we could risk it and try and get 5, kind of thing. How do you balance that?
Yeah. So today, for example, we were rolling through the rollout, and we just saw this really cool old, not old, but brutalist building, and we're like, we can actually shoot it and make it work. And Harry said, it's a bit of a risk to get to the next spot, but we should be able to make it, and if not, we'll just keep going. So we stopped, shot there, which was nice, and then boosted to the next sort of cut through, and we ended up getting 2 more spots and the finish today. And yesterday,
Nice.
for example, it was a really, really good day for chasing the race. We managed to get 4 spots, which on a Grand Tour is pretty rare.
Wow.
I'd say the average is
that is
1 to 3. 3 being a really good day, 2 being a normal day, and 1 being, it's not necessarily you've done a bad job. There's 200k sprint stages sometimes in races where, because of the way the route is laid out, a lot of the time, if it's in like a straight line transition stage to get the Peloton between mountain ranges, for example, or something like that, there's just, 9 times out of 10, the race will take the biggest road in the region. So if they're riding along 40k an hour and the roads around that route are tight and twisty, sort of country back roads, doesn't matter that
you're not going as fast.
Well, you're not,
them.
exactly. It doesn't matter that it's a 5-hour stage. You're only going to get one spot to then make it to the finish, and it's soul destroying.
When you factor in then like having to do a bit of a detour round and so on.
Yeah. And giving yourself time in hand. The sort of the key thing is time in hand. You can get to the spot when they get there, but you're never going to get in front of them. And you can get there at some points, and you see them riding past in the distance, and your stomach just drops.
But
yeah.
Any notable moments, any pictures that you're happy with so far this tour?
It's not been the most vintage tour visually so far. I mean, the north of France is really nice. I was really surprised by how beautiful Lille is, particularly in the centre. I mean, I only ever really know Lille through Roubaix, and it's just the outskirts, and I'm never really that enthused, but it was really beautiful in the centre.
That's a
diplomatic.
Yeah, being diplomatic.
Roubaix is one of the worst places in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, and so today, for example, we were driving past so many Roubaix sectors. Like, we were driving past Troisville, we were driving past Orchy, and just thinking, oh shit, this race would be so much cooler if we were going on cobbles today. So yeah. There's not really been many. I mean, Van der Poel's win yesterday was my highlight so far. His post-up was sick. It was full of emotion, full of passion. Yeah. And you rarely really see that from him. He's always so cool because he wins so much. But obviously, 3 years or 4 years since he's won at the Tour. So that one meant something.
Did you wonder... I was watching that, and when they showed you in slow motion, I wondered if the way that he threw his hand, because it's like the watch hand comes up across the chest, and you get like...
Yeah.
Oh, check out my new Richard Mille, available now.
Well, funny you say that, Stu, because I put a story up last night. Because, he's got his wrists, like, stacked. And on one wrist is his 450,000 euro or whatever it is, Richard Mille. And his other wrist is his fucking whoop. It's just the better part of $70.
Are you trying to say he should wear 2 Richard Milles, one on each wrist?
Right. So sick. I'd love it.
One of them provides crucial insight. The other one just tells the time, but lets everyone know where you're at in life. Yeah,
100%.
Have you had any brushes with any famous people yet?
Well, yeah, I was at the finish yesterday at the podium, and Van der Poel had come out and taken his stage win medal and whatever. And Harry was stood next to me, and we were both wondering, we weren't too sure. And it's classic doing this job. You have absolutely no idea what's going on in the race. You just know what's in front of you. Yeah. And we weren't sure if Van der Poel or Pogačar were in yellow. And we were just sort of, pro cycling stats wasn't loading because there was thousands of people in one place. And I looked to my left, and Christian Prudhomme was stood next to me, the race director of the Tour.
Prudy himself.
Yeah, and we'd actually had...
The real Michael Corleone.
Yeah, the Don, man. That dude, like, people talk about aura, that man is dripping in it with absolutely no effort.
Yeah.
He's got swagger.
Right?
And we'd actually had an interaction at Liège earlier this year. And it was really funny, like, sort of joking around and stuff just randomly. And I just turned to him, I said, pardon, Christian, who is in yellow? Is it Van der Poel or Pogačar? He said, Van der Poel. I was like, very good, very good. He's like, oui, oui. I was like, merci. So, and then
You're fluent.
I'm fluent in French accent. And he hit me with his best sort of, and I turned back to Harry and told him the good news. And then, Van der Poel worked out. It's funny though, for someone who says he doesn't like the Tour de France, he certainly looked happy in the yellow jersey yesterday, did Van der Poel. So maybe now that Philipsen's gone, and it might, open the door for more stage wins for him, he's going to like the Tour a lot more than normal. But...
Well, we shall see. We shall see. It's funny you had that interaction because at the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift last year...
Don't forget the avec Zwift,
I had an interaction with Marion Roos, who's the race director, and had a conversation with her about Puck Pieterse, and it was the best 2 minutes of my life.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Marion Roos. At the start this morning, Alaphilippe rocked up with his son on his handlebars, And normally I despise that. I just think it's a bit cringe and whatever. I mean, I'm not a bike rider and I don't have kids, so I don't really get it. But, oh my Lord. I mean, no surprises whatsoever.
Was it cute?
Holy moly, mate. Yeah, cutest kid I've ever seen. And I mean,
really?
Makes sense.
I mean, he's the progeny of Marion Roos and Julien Alaphilippe. What do you expect?
I mean, it would be strange if he wasn't. But, oh my God, the cutest little thing ever. I got this lovely picture of Biniam and him high-fiving. And his little face is just lit up. It was wholesome as hell. So that was super nice.
So what's the story then? What are you looking forward to over the next week that's kind of gonna get the juices flowing?
Oh man, I don't really know. I mean, the first week's 9 days, which I mean that's just spiteful.
Oh, yeah, because that's knackering for you as well as the riders.
I forget the riders, mate. They get to sit. They can shove it. Like no.
No, they get driven around and fed and their laundry done for them. They don't need to know where the accommodation is. They don't need to know where they're going.
They wake up.
You have to do all of that.
Exactly. They wake up. They get told what to eat down to the gram. They get ferried onto their bikes. There's an archway at the start. There's an archway at the finish. Start pushing the pedals. I mean, easiest job in the world. Easiest job in the world.
Easy.
So, I mean, the first 10 days is going to be rough. I'm probably just looking forward to the rest day.
Fair enough. Zach, thank you so much for your time. Where can our listeners find you if they don't follow you already?
ZW Photography on Instagram. Nice and simple.
Lovely.
Thanks, boys. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of the first week and your well-deserved rest day.
I will. Thanks for the chat, Vince.
There you have it. That's the Tour de France up close from Zach. What's quite exciting is we're going to see him in a bit over a week, aren't we, Harry? Well, I hope we'll see him. I need a new LinkedIn photograph.
Yeah, we are going out to the tour with Life in the Peloton.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking Bromptons and seeing stage 18 to the finish, where we'll aim to ride up some mountains on tiny wheeled bicycles and podcast live from the race. So bringing you some daily pods from the tour.
So we'll be flying out to the Alps for some high mountains, and then we'll be having some high times in Paris, and then we'll also be doing a little bit of the Tour de France fam as well, which is exciting. It's nice to get out there.
Can't beat it. Beat it.
If you're going, give us a shout. raceradio@lifeinthepeloton.com. Drop us an email. Maybe we'll see you in the mountains. Maybe we'll see you in Paris.
Enjoy the rest of the first week. I know we will.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep watching it. Don't work. Just watch the Tour de France. It only happens once a year. Come on.
School holidays here in the UK anyway. Nothing gets done if you've got kids. Take the edge off a little bit by sitting in front of the television for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, get your kids into cycling. Right. Thanks, everyone. This has been Life in the Peloton's Race Radio.
Until the next time.
Here we go.
Let's take advantage of this.
I'm Mitch Docker, and this is Life in the Peloton's Race Radio.